All right, we have to interrupt our regular programming for some breaking news. This is an urgent update, and if you receive Social Security, or even if you're just planning for it down the road, you're going to want to listen closely. Let's get right into it.
So here it is, the main headline. The 2026 Social Security Cost of Living Adjustment, the COLA, has been officially delayed. You know, for millions of Americans, this annual adjustment is an absolute financial lifeline against rising prices. And right now, that entire process has been put on hold.
So what's happening here? Why the sudden delay? Well, the cause is a story that's become all too familiar lately: a government shutdown.
Now, a government shutdown basically means Congress hasn't approved the necessary funding, so federal agencies have to stop all work that's considered non-essential. The problem? The absolutely critical first steps for calculating the COLA have, unbelievably, just been labeled non-essential.
To really get a sense of how disruptive this is, let's just quickly walk through how this is supposed to work. It's usually a very reliable three-step process. First, the Bureau of Labor Statistics gathers all the inflation data. Second, the Social Security Administration takes that data and calculates the adjustment. And third, the new number is announced in October. It's a key financial moment people count on and plan their budgets around. And that's exactly where this shutdown has thrown up a massive roadblock. That very first step, the data collection, it's completely frozen. The Bureau of Labor Statistics has been forced to stop its work, and that means the entire process just grinds to a halt. It's pretty simple, really. You can't calculate a cost of living adjustment if you don't know the actual cost of living. Okay, so that's the why. But let's get to the question that really, truly matters. What does this actually mean for your benefits, for your budget? Let's break down the real-world impact.
The scale of this is just staggering. You have to understand, this isn't just some small bureaucratic hiccup. It directly impacts millions and millions of people. We're talking about retirees living on fixed incomes. We're talking about folks with disabilities and families who rely on these benefits for absolute essentials like rent and groceries and healthcare.
And our source material really hits the nail on the head with this quote. This delay is, and I'm quoting here, creating major uncertainty for millions of beneficiaries. This isn't just about a number changing on a piece of paper. This is about not being able to plan your budget for the next year, for your food, for your mortgage, for those critical medical bills. It's that uncertainty that's so tough.
And this chart here, it really lays it all out in black and white. On the left, you have that predictable, reliable timeline we've all come to expect. And on the right, that's our current reality. Data collection is halted, the October announcement is postponed, and maybe most importantly, that January 2026 start date for any new benefits is now completely up in the air.
So, this obviously brings us to the most pressing question on everybody's mind. What happens now? If the normal timeline is basically shredded, what can we actually expect moving forward?
Okay, the path forward is really like a line of dominoes, and right now, that first domino is stuck. See, the Social Security Administration needs the official inflation data to do the calculation. That data collection can't resume until the government shutdown ends. So until that happens, the COLA announcement is postponed indefinitely.
And that, right there, is the bottom line for everyone waiting for this news. The timeline is no longer in the hands of the economists or the statisticians at the agency. The power to get this whole process moving again now rests entirely with Congress and their ability to make a deal and reopen the government.
In a situation with this much uncertainty, you're probably asking, what can I actually do? Well, the best course of action right now is simply to stay informed. Following reliable updates on this situation is really the most powerful tool you have to navigate what comes next and protect your financial plans. Look, this immediate crisis, it will eventually get resolved. But it leaves all of us with a much bigger and frankly more troubling question. Government shutdowns aren't really rare events anymore. So, as these political fights become more common, how do we protect our most essential financial systems, systems like Social Security that millions of people depend on, from getting caught in the political crossfire? It's something we really need to think about.